It is Sunday, November 19th, 2023, and this is my connecting time on Sundays. No matter what, no matter what's going on, this is an absolute necessity for me to blend, to make myself available to hear more and feel more than I would perhaps in a very busy life. Although I must say that when one practices the dialogue, one can make themselves far more available to receive input from within. The pathways are opening when one intends to do so. I have been connecting a bit before I turned the recorder on. I want to share the dream that came 2 nights ago, I believe it was. 2 or 3 nights ago. I have my eyes closed now, so I don't want to go into linear mode to give you an exact date that nobody really cares about anyway. Not in a bad way, just it's not important data right now. This is the kind of dream that I sit up and I take note of because it has the patterns and the themes that have wound through my entire life. And I know these dream communications well at this point. And they really haven't steered me wrong. It's, as I've said many times before, it's just my ability to translate that can be the challenge sometimes. So the data comes, and it's up to me to be clean and clear, as lucid as possible, to understand what is being conveyed from these angels that guide. And I feel like I want to call them angels more than ever before. I backed off from all of those charged words, especially when institutions capture words and narratives, and it's hard to be visible or audible in this spectrum when that's the case. So I'm here, and I am choosing love. I am in your service, first father and first mother. I am here and I am listening. There are days in this life that I feel connected and purposeful, and there are more days that I am traveling on pure faith and trust in you, in this frequency of love that doesn't always have intellectual or translated data for me. I used to forget that more often, that I must be in a space of listening to truly receive and understand what you're saying through energy. And sometimes I get off balance, especially being in the world to the degree that I am now. And I need this guidance and information more than ever. I feel you flowing in now. This is the love affair. We've always been together. I just haven't always been available in this life. But that was part of the plan, I know. And when I speak like this, I always feel like I have to explain further. It isn't about me as an individual. This is my work in service of love and in service of humanity, in service of the divine. And at a certain point, I see that we must accept it and not deny it so much anymore. And that's an especially challenging point. We're taught we're taught like a false humility in the containment, in the smaller reality, the false grid. It takes a while to, at least it has for me, it's taken a lifetime to extract myself from it. I'm still extracting from it and, re-emerging as a stronger human who has opened her core and works with the mother and the father. And there are no words here for that. One could say that's by design. And it could be, but there's no time for blame. There's no time for, answering a gazillion questions about why we're in this position that we're in. Much of that did come through the messages. There were some explanations. But I always remember that if something like that was offered, it was then stated clearly, this is not something that can be fully understood at this level of collective consciousness. And when you rise into and open to the divine, that's when your understanding comes. That's when you can be filled in. The energy is very, very sweet right now. Whew. So the dreams and the dream that I'm about to share, and I wanted to invite the presence in first before I talk about the dream, because the presence holds me and helps me to stream, which a word that we used to call it in the containment word is channeling. Really, it's just the ability to shift into and speak from the divine core, the core authority, and that is the blending with our divinity and the acceptance of our divinity. And allowing that power and strength to come through, even though there may be very few people who understand what's happening. And this is why they encourage me to record these and share them, because it's not available to the public. Some of the ones in the past are, but they have very few listens. The collective is very, very interested in explanations, from their view. They want it. They're consumers of explanations. And that is why they are easily manipulated. And there's a lot in the messages about this. This is the moment, the insertion point here, where the divine may enter in and restore, and each individual chooses. And there's definitely an abundance of material shared on this. But what I notice now, especially with this last dream, is I am dreaming for the collective. I am embracing and allowing the archetypal energy to merge. It isn't so much about this dream symbol means this, and this dream symbol means that, which was, so grateful. I am so grateful for the study of dreams in my life. The dreams were teaching me, just like, we talk about the evolution of contact and the evolution we're experiencing with these extraordinary experiences, these mystical connections that we're having. And what I share, kind of the thrust of my book, which I'm really happy that I wrote. And it was about, wait a minute, stuff's happening to me and I can't find the right explanation for it here. And so I just want to emphasize that. Do not look to the internet necessarily for your answers. Look within, open the pathways here, and then if you go on the internet, you may attract the synchronicity of resonance. The inner connection must occur first before you can continue to extract yourself from the spell. So the dream opened with my being in the house of Daryl Anka Bashar. He channels the being Bashar. And his wife, Erica, they had invited me to visit them where they live. Now, I know where they live, and this was not their home in the false grid reality. This was, that feeling of being in a round space or an egg. It definitely had that, everything is happening right here in front of us, but then in the periphery is the rounded walls. And the interesting part of this is the three of us were talking and laughing, and it was just an exquisite connection and friendship. And in my life, I have been far more connected to Daryl. In real life, we've been friends, and just that dream character of Bashar throughout my life has been monumental. And this is where I get a lot of readjusting data. On the journey, you get these extra bits of modifying, calibrating. That's the word. It's like a calibrating energetic dose. So I know that I'm, very connected to Daryl. And of course, I know his wife too. But in the life before, we didn't talk a whole lot. So this dream was interesting because it was the friendship between Erica and I had been developing and expanding, and it was getting stronger and stronger in the dream, to the point where I felt this familiar love. When I say I feel the energy coming in, it's the same energy, and that which I call the mother. Anyway, in the dream, we just had this very deep connection. It was so strong at certain points that, it was like the memories I have of contact, where I'm just, I can barely stand the high frequency, to where it's at that threshold of like, okay, I think this is all I can handle. It's hard to explain unless you've experienced, moments of this or even extended experiences of it. It's a very real thing. This high frequency rush. So then Daryl would fade back into, like, I was aware that he was, in another room, and he was working as Erica and I expanded in this energetic love. And then the next thing I know, I am, first I'm overlooking this very expanded, went on forever, this valley, and it had a desert feel to it. And it was like a living map, or a hybrid of, real landscape, which kind of had a, not so much a Grand Canyon, but it had that kind of feel to it, where there were mountains on the left and mountains on the left, and to the right there was just definition. And I can't remember exactly. Yeah, it was like hills. And I looked out over this expanse. Daryl and Erica were back at the house, and I was standing at the edge of the mesa looking over. And then I watched a very, very dark, ominous, alive cloud, if you will. It's difficult to even call it a cloud. It was a, massive blob of darkness. And it was over an entire region. It wasn't, like, I was aware. I was made aware that it was an entire region, which, if it were the East Coast, it would encompass many states on the East Coast. If it were as far east as the Middle East, it was a blackness over the entire region. So it was not clear to me, specifically where, in our geography that we know, where it was and where it was, pummeling this area. And I was aware that it was the evil that is consuming many human beings, because, as I pointed out earlier, because of the mental manipulation that has been occurring to control humanity, the ones who don't know themselves, who are in fear and are being given purpose and identity through evil. And this isn't something I'm just making up. I witness it every day that I go to work at the agency that I work at with the teens. So I'm watching this morphing, growing, expanding darkness. And then I look to my left and I see waves, ocean waves coming up over very tall mountains. And then further to the left, I see, off to the left of the mountains, I can see the view of the ocean itself. And there are bolts of what looks like lightning in the sky. And they are a reddish orange glow. And it's not natural lightning. It is like weaponry, with lots of reverberating sound. Now, I am aware, this has happened in the past, when I'm looking off to my right, it's to the east. When I'm looking off to the left, it is the west. And and then, of course, my orientation, north and south, based on those points. And I then looked back to the east and I watched a giant truck emerge from the dark cloud. And I say truck, but it was just this vehicle that was that had the darkness all around it, and it was almost as large as the cloud itself that I had been looking at, that covers regions, large areas geographically. So I'm aware that it's intending to wind through the region to me, to where I am. And now I find myself on the floor of the valley, on the ground floor, on the same level. I'm no longer getting the larger picture view on the mesa. I'm now down on the ground of all that's happening. And I'm not afraid. I'm just observing it all. Because it's not about me. I am watching and witnessing this data that is coming to me. And then I'm aware that Erica appears to my left. And we talk a little bit about what's happening. And then she says, come on, it's time. And as the truck gets near and near, and I'm still not afraid. And I turn and follow Erica to the base of the mesa, where there's a tree with knobs on it, and I become aware that I've seen this tree before, the Ceiba tree in Guatemala, when Eduardo and I were there for my, the fires and the initiation in Tikal. And I watch Erica climb the Ceiba tree. And I mean, this is a massive mesa, and therefore a massive tree, that it just extends into the heavens. And she's just grabbing onto these, thorns, what are thorns on the Ceiba tree. But she's using them like, you would see in a rock climbing space. And she's just lifting herself just with such strength and power. I was just like, wow. And she gets to the top and she says, come on. And in that moment, I had a thought that said, well, I can't do that. What do you mean? How did you do it? That kind of, the doubt comes in. And she just not dismissed it, but she just said, come on, I'm going to have time for this as the truck gets near. And so I said, okay. And I used that will, that I have developed in, willing myself to do the dialogue and to connect and to, practice and to, make the effort, the inner effort. And it was the same kind of will. And I said, okay, I'm doing this. So I started lifting myself up. And at first there was great power and ease. And I was just like, whoa, this is amazing. I was just, more fascinated with this part than, there's a big dark cloud of evil coming my way. And then at a certain point on the tree climb, I had a doubt again. And then I lost my power. I lost my energy, and I just kind of clung, way, way high on this Ceiba tree. And then I remembered again that I am connected to the divine. I am connected to this power. So I called it in, and I climbed near to the top of the mesa where Erica was waiting for me. And we both knew that she was going to lift me the rest of the way. Somehow, we just both were aware of this. And she did some arm movements that were very interesting. I could see them in my mind's eye. I couldn't see her in front of me. And then she crossed her arms and lifted me up the rest of the way with this superhuman strength that was obviously far more expanded than the human physicality, and lifted me up onto the mesa. And I knew that all was well again. And I knew that there would be destruction on that, and I say on the floor. It's clear to me, and was made clear in the dream, that is the lower spectrum reality, where people have forgotten who they are. And so there are other beings that take full advantage of this ignorance. And they use the rage and the anger that comes from the woundedness, the trauma within human beings, to become their warriors, to become this evil force. It's like a possession. That's the closest thing I can think of. But you can't be possessed if you're open to the divine, and you've worked on making these pathways open. And I don't mean for that to sound like, you got to get started on this huge project of connecting with the divine. It can happen instantaneously. It depends on your will to connect with it. And that's what's been hijacked from us in many ways, is the mother, the will within to, climb. And that climb, I want to zero in on that climb, because a couple months ago, I did receive a download of a book that was showing me that Jacob's ladder is the mother's ladder. And I just started writing everything I was being shown, and that it is the mother, it is the feminine that does lift us beyond this spectrum. Because when we reintegrate her, we are one with her. First father and first mother are rejoined within us, and we are lifted to our rightful place. It is a marriage that lifts us, reconnects us. It isn't that someone comes and saves us. It is that we restore. And in that restoration, we phase back in, or phase forward into our rightful space, dimensional being. the dimensional frequencies that match our restoration, rather than living in a containment that matches our disconnect. The external reality just matches our disconnect from our source. And we, for many centuries, we have given our power to something that, as the messages have said, do not have your best interests at heart. So I then was back in the home of Daryl and Erica, and we were talking, it was like around the kitchen table, the kitchen and dining room, huge area. And they were both there. And the three of us were talking, and Erica said, we'd like to invite you to just live here, stay here with us. And I had so much joy. It was so perfect and balanced, and it's like, oh yeah, this is life. This is what is intended for each and every one. So you see, it's archetypal. It is showing me that space that has been invaded by evil, that is not representative of who you are. That is a version of reality that occurred from the disconnect. And it is not the natural state. It is not the natural world. And so when we continue to identify with this as reality, then we keep ourselves there. And it is a journey of, initiating that will to climb. And then to be invited back into or forward into that which is our natural design and environment. And so many people talk about ascension, and when I got the downloads about the mother's ladder, you see, it was showing me the mother's ladder as in the downloads previously. And I had never, ever had that thought before in my life. But I was being shown in these downloads a few months ago that this is the way. And so many of, the lower spectrum narratives, you see they're masters at watching the themes, and they do so on social media. That is one way that they begin to capture and change the narratives. It is like, this presence has shown me that they show me in visions that it's like large nets that come when people start getting too close to connection and awareness again. These nets come in, and then instantaneously these new narratives are pumped out that are flashier and more exciting to the ego. And so if there's still ego, as people are rising out of this construct, they will turn and look in that direction and go, oh, that is way more exciting than this that nobody seems to see or acknowledge. So I'm just going to go, join this club, because what's happening to me on an individual level with Source is not validated. And so, in the world that you are emerging from, and it won't be. And this is the thing. This is the twist here is you're on your own, and you will be for some time in this journey, until you own it and accept it enough that you attract others like yourself, or you attract the resonance that shows you that others are climbing too. And their climb doesn't look exactly like yours. And there might be a lot of similarities and resonance. But yours is unique. Yours is a one-on-one with Source. You are delivering the mother to the father. You are delivering first mother to first father, so that they may reunite in your being. You have this power to transform everything. And that's the part that is kept from you. So it's not important to pay attention to, dark clouds and waves over the mountains and, massive semi trucks or whatever it was headed your way. Don't get caught up in that drama. Focus on the climb. Focus on the connection with the rest of yourself, with your true home, your true vibration. And this is, as is taught with the dialogue, this is not a story. It's a living, moving event that happens through you. And I'm just here to tell you about it. I'm just here to tell you about this climb that is possible, about this restoration. And when you ignite and you feel it, you have those markers now. And then you trust it and you know this is what's real. This is what's real. With each reach, up this tree, this is what's real. This is power. This is love. With each reach, with each leg up. And sometimes you find yourself on that tree allowing doubt to creep in. And you lose energy and you lose the connection. And then you feel like, oh, I am way too high up on this tree. What do I do? Do I just fall back down? And then you're in that choice time again. Choose the climb. Choose the reconnection with the divine. It is through your individual will that this occurs. It's not going to happen to you from your external reality. Now, the Light Dialogic Community is about having this space with each other to share. What is the climb like for you? Where are you on the climb? Do you need some support? Do you need some encouragement? Because we got that. Do you want to share your breakthroughs, your new understandings of what this is actually like? Not in a narrative constructed by this lower matrix reality to capture you. It's important now to be moving with this force, with the guidance that comes from within. If you're still in and out of your, is this really real? I don't know. This world I'm in seems so convincing, and, these people sound crazy. That's you have that right and choice to decide what's crazy and what's not. But I speak to the ones who are allowing the vulnerability, the ones who are stepping out and not knowing exactly how to do this. But you know that with that love, that divine love within that guides, you're going to be okay. And you'll get more information with each reach on that climb. More will come to you, more understanding, more guidance, until you just discover, oh, I'm home. And your home will be love. And your external reality will be love. Harmony, coherence. Laughter, creativity. Expansion beyond what you can even imagine at this point on the climb. There's no reference for it in the mind, in the intellect. And that's because, as these messages have pointed out so often, this is the presence that fills you in. This is, it comes through your heart, your emotional connection. Develop this connection. It is your way through. It is your way to freedom. It is the knowing of the truth within you that sets you free. So I just want to acknowledge all of you. I want to acknowledge those who have been traveling with me in this human life. You are a blessing to me. You have helped me live this human life, which was very, very challenging. And I thank you for traveling with me, and I thank you for climbing with me. This is who we are. And it's up to each and every one of us to choose to vibrate with the truth of who we are. There is no cloud of evil or no high waves coming over mountains. No dark, big black trucks winding through the valley. That can touch us. Because this is not the real world. You were told that it was, and we all believed it. You don't have to beat yourself up about it. Just choose to correct it. And you have that inner divine authority within you to guide you every step of the way. I celebrate humanity. Just so wonderful, this design of divine human. Let's help each other unpack this on the climb. I am so blessed. So very blessed to be on this journey with all of you. There's pure joy coming through me now, through my core. There's so much love here. And all I have ever wanted in this life is for you to feel it too. It is the compass within.